Yo, 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 what's going on, guys? What's happening with everybody? It's your boy Kid. We back at it again with another video. I want to talk to you guys about why you should never be friends with women you find sexually appealing. Now, the reason for this video is it was inspired by one of my coworkers. We were talking about some things that have been going on between a couple of other people, right? And I was talking about the dynamics between how you come off friendly at first, but then sexual later, flirtatious later. The distinguishing factor in between this, right, to the woman's mind is that if he's coming off at me, right, in a friendly way, then obviously this is what it's gonna be, platonic, right? Now, of course, every woman knows, and it doesn't matter how old you are. Guys always, are hollering at women. Every woman knows that this dude that's approaching them is hollering at her, is trying to get at her, right? And so they already know whether to continue moving or to stop and see what's up. And for most open-minded people, they would usually stop and just to see what's up, right? So anybody has common sense, all right? I like to believe that, but I refuse to give people common sense when it comes down to communication, right? And so if you're not trying your best, or if I don't notice you're trying your best, I'm not going to give you the benefit of the doubt, right? That's just the way I move. That's just the way every man should move in my recommendation. Now, the reason why I say all these things is because there's a fine line between doing what you want and doing what other people want. And if you're on the side of the fence where you're doing what other people want and expect you to do, you're automatically fighting with yourself because you know what you want to do. You know where you want to go. You know what you want to get out of life, right? So when it comes down to you getting into your own identity, when it comes down to you finding your own masculine identity, shout out to Miles Cunningham, is that the use of it, right, is not really a something you can put on and take off. It's more like something that is built within you. It's like a house. Think about it like that. You have the foundation, and then you have the bricks to put up the wall, and then you have the reinforcement to put up the roof. That is basically what it's like when it comes down to being, who you are, being your own man, right? Everybody has their own way of being, but without the experience, without the game required, without the knowledge, you won't be able to find your real potential, right? And it's a lot to think about when you are out there, which is why I'm making this video. I want to teach you guys why you should, never be friends with women you find sexually appealing. I don't want you guys to get it twisted to think that, yo, this woman is interested in me when you haven't really led her in a direction, when you haven't set a goal for yourself and then put it out there, when you haven't tried to reinforce that in the first place. So this is going to be a quick 7 to 10 minute video. I'm going to let you guys know a few things. I'm going to go into depth. This is going to be part one of why you should never be friends with a woman you find sexually appealing, because I want to break this down bit for bit. And I want you guys to understand both aspects, both ends of the situation, right? On a woman's end and then on a man's end, okay? And I want you guys to apply these techniques, right, to your masculinity, right? I'm not talking about the woman, I'm talking about yourself. Apply what I tell you to yourself. It has everything to do with you and you upgrading yourself. Because the minute, like I said, it goes down to the first point that I have, right? The minute that you sway away from your own interests, you start to appease to hers as a tactic to get her to like you. You don't want to be, a man apart. You want to be a man in full when you approach this woman. So this comes down to everything that you do for yourself, everything that you think about yourself, everything that you portray into the world. When you go out, do you ever think about looking your best? When you go out to an event, do you ever think about making sure you have some extra bread to spend? When you go out to a certain place that it might be a networking event, do you ever think about carrying a notebook with you? I say these things because when it comes down to the variables, you want to be prepared for those variables. You never want to contradict yourself or find yourself in a situation where you're contradicting yourself. You never would want to go against what the real reason that you went ahead and did this thing. That the real reason why that you went ahead and made this move to go to this certain place, to talk to this certain individual, to holla at this woman. So in the mix of it all, the conversation is what really matters, and that transcends and translates into how you move and how you carry yourself. So it's a beautiful thing when you can actually make it a part of your artwork, an art form. But at the same time, when you make the interest about her, you sway away from your own, which tends to make you go down a direction where you are unfamiliar with. And truth be told, you might be comfortable with it. Because the reason being is because if you're here today, if you're watching this video, if you're listening to this podcast, you are already struggling with a few things in regards to dating. Mind you, this is not about the women, this is about you. In regards to dating, your understanding of it is what's fucking you up in the long run. And so in the mix of it all, I want to be able to have your back when it comes down to the questions that you might have based off of what certain things these women are doing. Because you could be getting played, or you could be moving in a direction where it could be potential for you and you get scared of that. These things do happen. But I want to be able to guide you guys in the right direction, because it's the best thing for me to do in when you guys grow and become fathers and uncles, and you want to teach kids, that once were you, right? This is my main goal, is to give you a little bit of more feedback out there that you can implement, and with that knowledge creates wisdom, experience from the things that you have done. So that's basically my goal. Now, that's my first point, right? When you often when you often lean away from your own interest, you you lean into her interests, right? To appease to her in any type of way. You look for reasons as to say, yo, what should I do for her to consider me? And what I want you to do is, before you even get to that, right? Before that thought even comes up, what I want you guys to do is, when you start to think, damn, she doesn't like me or want me, I'm not sensing the feeling that she's interested in me. What I want you guys to do is to start to think about your own value and think about how far you've come to get into this situation, right? The money that you've made to get into this situation, to put yourself here. A lot of the times our accomplishments are overlooked, and if we don't remember them, we tend to bring ourselves down because we feel like we haven't done enough. But the feeling is exactly what brings us down. The knowledge and the wisdom that we have in our brains of us accomplishing these things is what keeps us up. In the moments that we find ourselves in the mix of the feeling, right? That's when we're not logical about the situation, and we can't make the best decision. A lot of the times, and this is how women would think, actually will think, do think. They can't always think for themselves, which is why they require some type of logic in the game. And they know it themselves that they put themselves in bad situations based off of how they feel. And if they put themselves in these situations, they may feel good at the moment, but like shit about it later on. And I'm not talking about any particular topic, I'm talking about in generality. This is where logic comes in. You see, us as men, we can't afford to be in our emotions and our feelings all the time. We have to catch ourselves. This is where the game comes in. When you're out there doing your thing, the game will always test you. In any mix and anything you want to overcome, if you face that head on, the game will test you. So before you even have that doubt, that's when the game is testing you. You need to recognize your value. You need to figure out, yo, I came very far. I came very far. I'm here. I'm gonna enjoy my time, even though she may not even like me. She may not even be feeling me. You're still gonna do you because you've been doing you before you even got into the mix. She just happened to be in your way. So now that you hollered at her, now that you saw her, now that you figured out if she was, for you or not, we can get her out of the way. This is the mindset that I want you guys to start having when it comes down to you, you know, pursuing women, right? And when it comes down to you thinking of them as friends when you do find them sexually attractive, don't do it unless it has a high benefit for you. Because if it doesn't overcome that sexual attraction that you have for this woman, if you if you think for a second that you will end up sleeping with this chick, don't be friends. Don't try to be friends with her. Don't try to be business associates with her. Now, if on a business aspect, if you like your money more than the head of your dick, then by all means go ahead and do that. Go ahead and chase that money. Be business associates with this person. Converse with this person. I'll never negate that. But at the same time, what I'm saying is that if you see yourself fucking this woman, don't think for a second that you can be friends with this woman. She will find out you want to fuck her eventually. And if you lead in a friendly direction, you're gonna put yourself into a like a crash on a highway, because it's like coming to a fork in the road. You have sexual right attraction, go for the sexual interest that you have for her, or go for the friendly interest that you don't have for her, that she really has for you. When you go down the friendly route, right, that friendly route, if you automatically choose to take an exit off that road, right, then you have to be careful. Your feelings are going to get in the way based off of the time you spent with this person. And you may not feel some type of way, but look, my nigga, you're going to feel some type of way when you're spending a lot of time with an individual and come to find out later on she does not like you like that. Now, granted, you might get the fuck over it in a couple days' time. I'll give y'all that. But for most of you guys that are here, you're not going to be able to do that. This is why I'm telling you, sway away from going down the friendly route and then trying to get into the sexual route from the friendly route. You can't do that. I'm going to tell you guys this like this. I'm going to put it bluntly like this. When it comes down to women you find sexually attractive, you cannot have it both ways. They're going to sense some type of flirtatiousness that comes from you and think that, oh, it's playful. This is what we do. She's not going to think, oh, he wants to get at me. I see this shit all the time. I see women play with dudes, right? Especially at work. I see women play with dudes, and these dudes laugh it off in a very feminine way. And when this happens, when I see that, I see, oh, she's got him. Look, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but these chicks that do this to you and you play along with that, they got you. If you don't put your boundaries down like a regular human being would, but more so a man should, you're going to be fucked with. You may as well take it up the ass. I'm so serious. This is not a game. It's a game, but it's not a game. So I'm telling you guys this because with knowing this little information, this piece of information of what I've given you when it comes down to the dynamic between the man doing the friendly way, going the friendly way, right? And the woman thinking of you as a certain type of individual, not that individual that you would like her to think you of as. I tell you all this to say that if you continue to do this, you would think this is normal, and this is not normal. This is not normal behavior. Down the line, look, in rare cases, I'm not gonna say you can't go from friends to boyfriend and girlfriend to wife to husband and wife. I'm not saying that. You definitely can in rare cases. But in generally speaking, right, when it comes down to dating, the main attraction, right, when it comes down to dating, the main attraction has to come from what attracts your eye, and not so much the vibe that's presented. And when you do this, you need, and I'm speaking from the man's perspective, ladies. I'm speaking from a man's perspective, not. It's different for a woman, but I'm speaking from a man's perspective to you gentlemen out there. The main attraction is what's in front of your eye, right? Whatever pulls you away, and you find something that is appealing to you, right? Whatever makes you look a certain way and makes you think, oh, I find her appealing. This is something that you should generally go for, because you're adding to the mix of it all, the dating game. This is what needs to happen in order for you to figure out if this is for you or if it's not for you. So going down the friendly route, it has its benefits, but when you sway away from your own interests, it disappoints you in the end, because you're going for something that is presented in front of you, but at the same time you don't want, and you're trying to figure out how to get that out of the way so she can see you as a person you want her to see you. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is get away from all of this by letting her know what it is now. Not later, now. A lot of the times you guys go to the club and you might wall hug. You might go straight to the bar and grab a drink, and then stay there for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes pretending to watch the game or some shit. Knowing that you know damn well you don't like the fucking game. You just out there to fuck. Excuse my language. You just out there to have, some sexual time. And it look, I get it. But the least you can do is respect yourself by saying, "Yo, I'm not gonna sit here watch a game that I don't like and not holla at women, which is really what I want to do, which is really why I'm here." In the mix of it all, right? I'm not saying you have to just immediately go out with the purpose of hollering at chicks. But what I'm saying is that if your goal of going out, it has nothing to do with, I'm sorry, if your goal of going out has something to do with introducing yourself to women, working on your flavor, your mouthpiece, how to present yourself. If this is what you do, then by all means, go ahead and do that. Right? You have that right. But don't go in there swaying away from that goal based off of the pressure of everybody else, based off of the things that are going on around you because of the intensity. The intensity is there for its own reason. It's not for nothing. This is why it's not for everybody. So I want to tell you guys based off of that first point, right? And we already on 15 minutes. Like I said, this is going to be part one of why you should never be friends with a woman you find sexually appealing. I want to make this part one. I want to make that first topic. I want to go ahead and thank you guys for watching for this long. If you guys are still watching for this long, go ahead and follow me at seduction underscore kings one, the number one. That's seduction underscore kings, the number one on Instagram. You can find my consultation link there. You can go ahead and holler at me there, and I will be able to answer all your questions on that end. If you want personalized coaching, you can find that in the consultation link and the link in my bio on Instagram at Seduction Kings, seduction underscore kings, the number one. This is your boy Kid signing off. I see you guys on the other side. Peace.